Let go of the past and manifest the reality you desire. It's time to expand your consciousness and create a new enlightened transformational you by raising your vibrational frequency. We will talk about ETs, light ships, the ascending human, our ascending planet, visitations, and first conscious contact upon our new fifth dimensional Earth. Welcome to Universal Unity, New Earth Consciousness. It's time to activate a better you by embracing the white light of Source. Now your host and universal guide, Joanna L. Ross.
Good morning. This is Joanna from Universal Unity and the Universal Light Wisdom and Healing Centers. Thank you so much for tuning in. My voice is a little bit hoarse because I've been talking so much this week with our first introduction and our first opening of our what we call the Universal Light Wisdom and Healing Centers, and what profound experiences we've had this week and huge growth opportunities that we've had this week. So we'll talk about that in the second hour. We're going to commit from now going forward. The second half of our show is going to be geared towards multidimensional parenting, crystalline children, indigo children, and all that we are as a universal child. I think a while ago we had a separate show called The Universal Child, and we're finding greater importance in that topic and subject matter because the crystalline children, and I'm a crystalline child, but all of the children born within the last 15 or 20 years in particularly are super high frequency kids, and we're really stepping into this grand awareness as to how we can begin to change our socioeconomic paradigms, how we can invite and inspire and ignite brand new beautiful offerings, and it's through the hearts and the divine love of each and every one of us to do so, whether it be through our home, whether it be through our snuggle and communion time with our children and our family. Whatever it is that we do to ignite this open exploration of love and creativity as the Christed essence, then we're creating those ripples of change throughout our entire universal essence. It's going to tie in with our topic today because I've been moving through some really profound multi-dimensional experiences that have kind of been on the tail of all of these beautiful sacred trips I've been on and how the land has activated me. And I've had some wonderful conversations with other colleagues and light workers in what's going on generally in our general human collective and our planetary intuitive collective, because we're able to pull in the frequencies and the unfolding, if you will, of what's happening globally, what's happening planetarily and collectively, if you will, galactically, rippling out to our omnipresence. And so it's really important to keep the big picture in mind when there's so much going on, energetically, really. I don't pay any attention to the news. Just whatever was brought to my attention as I'm moving from social page to social page and whatever work I'm doing online. But even then, I'm trying to limit what I'm doing online because I understand how, as my energy and frequencies move up in oscillation and speed, I'm finding myself affected by it, and so too are the children. And so it's really important that we really limit, electronic time and technological time for not only us, but the children, because these frequencies, man-made frequencies, kind of do interrupt the natural essence that we're trying to create homeostasis with. And so that will be a part of our second half. But whatever it comes across my desk or whatever comes across my portal as I'm moving from email to email or social page to social page, I understand there's obviously hiccups and wrinkles moving forward planetarily, whether it be the geophysical changes and disruptions, as well as what we're moving through as a human collective. But I don't sense any, for me personally, there's no drama or fear or chaos around it at all. These are the smoothing out of profound planetary changes. And so we can look at it as quite simply as that. Yes, it creates more chaos and turmoil if we focus on what the social media puts out there, and we can spiral in fear and we can spiral in the drama. Or we can create peace and presence and ground within what we know to be true about our entire human social paradigm is being shifted from one frequency to another. And so upheaval will occur. And upheaval is what's required to really create new systems and new light and new potentiation. And so we can truly spin within the new light fields that we're all creating from this beautiful essence of the multidimensional bouquet that we're being offered from creation, which is what today's topic is all about. How we're really truly stepping into a multidimensional bouquet of love. And that's our topic. Each and every one of us is a beautiful multidimensional aspect and perspective of the bouquet of creation that is crystalline. That is crystalline fragments and aspects from Divine Mother, Father, God, and how we all come together in our beautiful, unique diversity of what's being offered within the all. And we're creating this beautiful scent, this beautiful array, and this beautiful palette of color, of diversity, of uniqueness, of creative blending of so much within our one galaxy, if we just take it to our galactic perspective. And how our children even show us this. Because generation after generation after generation, we're seeing so much profundity coming forth from the hearts of these children. Whether it be prodigy or genius, whatever we want to define it or call it. Creative genius, whatever it is that we're seeing change and shift within our collective grander picture as a society. Because many of us are parents and we all understand the changes that our society has seen and the various ways that our children have had to adjust to the acclimatization of such limitation and density that we're now awakening to as parents, as adults. And these children come here much in higher vibration than we were born within. And so you can understand the challenges that they face and how emotional it is for them, because their emotional bodies, just as us adults, have had to balance our multidimensional bodies, the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the etheric. And why the human collective feels in times of great chaos is because the multidimensional bodies are not balanced. They're not working through their emotional needs, their emotional desires. They're not working through their etheric needs, their etheric desires. They're not working through their physical and their emotional and mental needs and desires. So these multidimensional bodies are so very key and what we work on in our classes every month. And by the way, today is our first monthly Sacred Temple teaching since I've returned from Japan. And I will be bringing forward some really wonderful, energetic healing practices that I'm going to introduce from how I was activated in Japan and bringing them forward in the class so that those who so desire that choose to join us for these monthly Sacred Temple teachings can truly take part in these beautiful array of offerings that we're all being offered as our DNAs are activated, as we're moving through our multidimensional ascension, because it's affecting every one of our bodies. So if we're not teaching it, we're not acknowledging it, we're not accepting it out in our societal world, then of course there's going to be many beings and many people moving through these imbalances and these understandings of what may feel like chaos, but it's truly not. It's just a matter of approaching it from a multidimensional perspective. And this is a multidimensional array, a bouquet of love that is being offered for us to go within. And instead of creating the challenge and the strife and the frustration, we can go within and say, well, wow, I'm truly understanding how multidimensional I am, and how can I be a part of this beautiful bouquet of love? I can now bring attention and awareness to my multidimensional bodies and create balance within my divine and female and male frequencies that are moving through me in any one moment. Any one moment we create judgment or lack of or less than. Any one moment that we create those symbolisms that allow us to move back within the Akash and have the Akash triggered so that we bring forward up emotional issues that we can then create refined choice and masterful choice around. And this is what we create understanding and greater awareness to as multidimensional parents, as higher dimensional parents and intelligent beings that are now going to begin offering new systems of new, we don't even want to say systems, new platforms of exploration and play to the children, to our own selves. Because we are now going to emulate sacred play for our children. We're going to now emulate sacred play and sacred exploration to our human collective families so that we can really come up with collaborative higher dimensional compromise, and really resolve today's issues, today's concerns in a creative, loving, Christed way. And so in all of our classes, we offer these through what we know to be true about the divine inner temple. All that we are is a temple of light. All that we are is divine God essence. And how, as each moment for moment for moment can allow us to refine all that we are as we create choice, but also explore with great excitement as we expand and explore. Because we're shifting and changing, and we're pulling in these beautiful universal wisdoms and intelligences that come out of absolutely all places and everywhere within. And why it's so important that week after week after week, we remind who are we, what we exist within, and what exists within us. Because there is not one being on this planet that has it all figured out. There's not one being on this planet that is fully moving within their unlimited earthly potential. It's shifting and changing in every moment. And it's something that's a continual cycle of love. And it's a bouquet. It's a diversity, never ending, always moving and shifting and accelerating and oscillating in ebbs and flows and cycles of rebirth and growth and integration and release. Constant. And so allowing ourselves to flow within new perspectives of expansiveness, new perspectives of how truly diverse and beautiful we are. And how we can fall in love with the moment for moment journey and let go of what it should look like, or the perspectives that we held and the expectations we held of what it should look like by now. Because I'm sensing that with the ascension frequencies, there's been many of us that have thought, well, shouldn't we be ascended and all these problems we fixed by now? Shouldn't we be moving through this and not seeing so much pain? But what I've understood and what I've awakened to is that we're really truly coming into our universality. We're awakening to the universal child within. Thus, therefore, so too are our children, because they're affected by our DNA. So if you're moving through a DNA activation, so too will your children and everybody that's connected and linked with you. So will all of creation. The human collective that you're linked and entangled with. We all move through this beautiful blooming of our universality. Which is why so many of us are feeling all of these multidimensional experiences that cannot really be explained or defined. It's truly beyond our imagining what we're experiencing and what we're actually creating. It really, really is. And I wrote an article, very short article this week, because I was excited to create that beautiful opening of the Light Wisdom Healing Center with my children. I was really excited about it. But underneath, I had created these expectations about what it would look like and how it would move through. Not by any clarification. I didn't write down point form what was going to happen or what was going to occur, because I didn't want that much planning involved in it. I want it to be synchronistic and spontaneous. But we moved through great challenge this week. And I look at this week in this moment now, and I say, wow, what a profound bouquet of love that we created and how we healed one another. Because within our expectations of one another, their expectations of me as a teacher, if you will, which we've changed that, my expectations of offering this profound platform. And we moved through those growing pains, as we're going to continue to do in those growth explorations. Because we're still in we still have our feet within old world paradigms, old world systems that we're trying to figure out. We're trying to make everybody happy and compromise. And so these multidimensional shifts and our entire collective is going through, and make no mistake about it. And that's why we feel and we sense and we see, and what's being presented geophysically on our planet in Gaia, what's happening within the grids, what's happening within the mantle, what's happening within her inner core. There's so much going on energetically. It can't help but just burst here and there and create ruffles and move and shift things. And so allow that to be okay. Allow the divine orchestration of all that is to be looked after and held within the loving hands of all that is. We can create better balance and stability and homeostasis if we shift the perspective from what we perceive to be chaos and drama and tragedy, and we can create the perspective of peace and compassion and centeredness, so that whatever may unfold will unfold in the most highest energetic, higher intelligence way, as opposed to spiraling within all the drama. It's all about the perspective we hold and the energies we emit from the center of all that we are, so that whatever may unfold is less impactful, if you will, in a dramatic way. Because we create our reality unfolding. And as each and every one of us steps forward with a gentle foot and a balanced peace of mind and a centered peace of heart, we understand and we know that those emissions of thought form, those emissions of heartfelt intent, of compassion and love and compromise, are doing far greater energetic work and rippling through the entire of creation than we can see or feel or know. Make no mistake about that. And we pause for silence of the divine moving through with us in this conversation. For those are important reminders. And how profound the presence that each and every one of us have through our thought forms, through our loving emanations of love and light and kindness and compassion, and truly sitting in peace and stillness and celebrating how far we have come and how much excitement and joy there is around every corner to create and co-create with one another in the most positive, empowering, and loving ways that we have never done before as a human family. With our galactic brethren that we can see just around the corner and feel just around the corner. I know that many of you are feeling the frequencies as I am, because your teams are tuning in with us now. Thank you, etheric chambers, for your celestial guides and your spirit guides and your teams. And feel free too, the second hour, if you have any questions, we always take phone calls and questions, any questions you might have about crystalline children, your multidimensional parenting, about your health and wellness of your multidimensional bodies, where we're sitting with the ascension frequencies, where we're sitting with your beautiful and profound bouquet of love that you are, in the colors and the tones and the sounds that all that you are. And really, send us any questions or any comments that you might have, because you're our family and we can sense you in the etheric chambers. And your teams are tuning in right now and they'd like to come in with a few points of experience for you, through me, if you will. We're sensing a lot of galactic energy coming in with our day-to-day unfolding. And they're saying that they're with us in all moments. So just know that, dear lighted ones. And we can feel them, and we can feel the presence of first contact just on its way, if you will. We can feel our dreams in a more surreal way, in which you wake up in the morning and you still feel as if you're in the dream. And that's kind of a surreal feeling that I've had. And allowing you to understand that these are the universal threadings of dimensionality working through us and feeling its way into new waters. And so be patient and be loving of yourself when things appear to be truly being rewritten before you energetically. And if you listen to that a few times, you'll understand, dear ones. And so the teams are speaking through me in this moment of now. You've sensed my voice change. Because there's many of you that are going through things you've never gone through before, in your bodies, in your imagery, your visions, your dreams, how you're sensing and feeling the world around you is changing, and that's okay. You're growing into your universal essence, a universal child that wants to explore and create in new ways. And Joanna said many times, create sacred play, because these inspirations that are coming to you and through you in every way, your multidimensional essence is feeling things in new ways. You create that sacred play. That's the conduit, that's the portal for these energies to begin creating through you and with you. And just know that consciousness, the omni field that we talked about last week, is alive and well and pulsing. And it's filled with the most profound intelligence that you've had in other frequencies, other realms, other star systems, other earthly lifetimes. And this omnipresence, this beautiful omni field, the essence of all energetic, of all things, the potentiality of all things, beyond your imagining, is so robust and lush and waiting for your co-creative abilities and mastery. It's right before you. It's right within you. It's ready to entangle and dance. And so these beautiful things that you've been shifting and moving from The body and the consciousness of what you've always experienced in human form may bring up fear, because that's just the natural state of what we're moving through. It's just fear. What's going on? Am I going crazy? Is this going on? That's just what we do. It's what we've always done. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can be exciting if you perceive it to be. You can say, wow, this feels good. What's going on here? And like Joanna, just slipping in and out of these higher consciousness states where she brings in a myriad of beings for you so that you may see and that you may know our world is shifting and changing and how profound and delightful it is. Why not? Your world is becoming less dense. For the consciousness that you have held, the consciousness that you have emitted, the delights and the dancing that you have done with your hearts, dear lighted ones, has allowed this to occur. And allow and surrender and open and receive. For that's why we are all here. So that these new beginnings and inspirations of profundity move through you as an energetic essence first. And you're sensing, wow, that feels different. What can I do with this? I'm feeling energy move through me, but how do I co-create with it? And that's where many of us are getting these visions and inspirations through our client participation, through our classes, through the actual doing, the action. And we're seeing ourselves remembering these ancient lifetimes and these beautiful higher vibrational lifetimes in which we've healed in ways we've never healed before. These new perspectives of healing are coming forward to play as energy first, as inspirings first, as musings first, where you see a vision and you think, wow, what if I tried this way? What if I tried that way? And you visualize it first, most often. Sometimes if you're just one that likes to play and you're moving your hands and you're creating with color, whatever it is that you're doing, you're an action-oriented person. But many of us are visionaries, and I usually see things first before I do. But as we're moving along in our universal awakening, we're allowing ourselves to continue to create sacred play in all things because it's inspiring even more and more and more and more and more. And it's accelerating this beautiful bouquet of what's being offered from creation through the experience of all that we are. Because all lifetimes are coming through us. All intelligences, all wisdoms, all roles we've ever played is moving through us. And why it's such a beautiful bouquet. And we can choose in any one moment to ground and center and breathe and allow every moment to be a peaceful state of presence with love. And whatever choice is required for us to make, we can make it from this state of being and this state of love to create a greater hue and clarity for what it is that we're placing our intent, our thought, our action and behavior within. And it's refined mastery over and over and over again. And so for many of us that are co-creating with collective in mind, many of us that are co-creating with our own children, our own families, and our soul tribe and our collective soul tribe in mind, we oftentimes have to create that centered peace and stillness and truly create that higher dimensional, higher self perspective before barreling and forging through with all that we think we need to know and we need to do and create overnight. And that's what I found out this week. I had the expectation underlying my beautiful freedom and exploration, whatever it was that I was going to create. But there was that underlying expectation of how beautiful and wonderful that it was going to be, and it was. But it just came through us in different ways because we were all feeling things out. This is all very, very new to us. But the expectation of me was that, well, I guess it would just unfold perfectly and it would be, a beautiful divine package, which it was. However, there were some challenges and there were some things we hadn't thought about. And that's okay. We're all moving through change. We're all moving through finding our way in this. And so it allowed me to take a step back and think, well, you know what? The most important thing is that we explore creatively. The most important thing is that we're together and we're loving this journey. So let's start from there. And whatever unfolds, unfolds. But there are those other aspects of our paradigm that are shifting out of the old systems into these new open, liberated, Christed systems that we still have to satisfy those involved in the equation. And I wrote an article that we mentioned a little bit earlier. And it's on our universalunity.ca blog. And perhaps it's going to come out on YouTube. I think there might be a YouTube video about it. I can't quite remember where it's at, but there was an article that I wrote about allowing ourselves to truly take heed and take honor in what we've created, and truly create that excitement and joy and peace about where we're at, moment per moment per moment, and let go of the big ideal perspectives and expectations. Have the bigger picture in mind, but then let go of expectation in every way about what it should look like or feel like or be experienced like in every way. Let it go, because that's divine orchestration. That's the unconditional trust and surrender that we're moving into, and that you will see work out perfectly when you do truly surrender and let go of all expectation. And there was still a part of me holding expectation. But in this article that I wrote, I realized that, well, there was part of me that was still creating those expectations. And so when something didn't go in the way, and in the energy that I had anticipated, I realized that I had anticipations and expectations. And so I'm allowing myself to come back to my centeredness, create it from a place where it really feels good, feels like me. But there's also these other parties that are involved that we have to appease and we have to compromise with. And so with this education, where we sit in the Canadian system, if you will, we have to appease by those that are, with these programs of general Canadian education in the general format, if you will. And there's different plans and things that we need to complete and be involved with. And there's classes, and we get updates from teachers and things like that. So we're still involved with the system, but we're going to do it in a way that can appease and compromise with all people involved. Like my children's father, he has his own wishes for how the children, for his expectations and his desires, regardless of where every person is at in the equation. The children, each of my children, our desires, our excitements, where we desire things to flow with this new platform of love and exploration, including mine, because I'm a very passionate person and I can put an idea out there and boom, I'm on it, and things are coming together. I'm a very intense person when it comes to manifestation. I get excited, and I get so much energy and so much excitement that there's an underlying expectation things should just flow and it just unfold like this, boom, 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 boom. But oftentimes I forget that there's many other people within the equation. So I take myself to that higher self perspective and say, well, we can begin to create, through our awareness and through our compassion, that higher dimensional outcome in whatever it is that we're approaching a decision on, whether it be about school, new design of a creative center, whatever decision that we are creating in our lives, because each and every one of us will create a number of decisions every day that we're going to be making for ourselves. And as we expand and ascend, we're going to be creating higher intelligence decisions and higher refined choices and higher refined paradigms that we create decisions within. That's essentially how we create our human collective reality, through choice, through revision, through cycles, all of that we've talked about. And so you create that higher dimensional perspective and say, well, I can bring this to a higher dimensional level, and we can still be evolving through the process, even though it might not look exactly like we had anticipated, but we're going to let that go. Because we understand that when we create that higher perspective of intelligence and say, well, we can create and we can appease and compromise with this party here by doing this. We can create, compromise and appease this party here by doing this and creating this and accomplishing this. And we can create the beautiful satisfaction that the kids have, because it's not as structured as before, but it's still, they have some semblance of what they're doing, and they have some sort of recognition of what's coming down the line, if you will. And so there's that higher perspective to look at all parties involved as these human paradigms and systems change. Because there's going to be many of you that will be in collectives and councils and groups creating these brand new opportunities. I'm not going to say systems, we're going to say opportunities, because we want it to be as open as possible without expectation around it. And so when you go forward in that way and say, we can still create the higher dimensional light field reality when we open our hearts and create the divine in me entangling with the divine in the all involved, All will serve, all will be served, and all will have their input. This is truly allowing the human to step forward in new light fields of behavior that we've never done before, because it's been very one way in our human society. Governments tell us what to do and we do it. Societies tell us what we do and we do it, or we follow it, or we're given marketing, we're given ads, we're given whatever it is that we do in our society. It's impacted the way we behave. It's impacted the way we've created choice. However, now as a higher dimensional society, as a higher dimensional human family, we can create moment for moment compromise and awareness from a higher dimensional frequency, because we are operating, as our DNAs get activated, we're operating with higher dimensional information, which is what dimension really is. Dimensional frequencies is information and vibration. That's it. Your world may perceive to be the same, but you are flowing, you are interacting, you are engaging, you are entangling with information and vibration. Make no mistake about that. And that's why many of us have experienced these higher dimensional, frequency dimensional shifts and changes. And we'll give you some examples of some so that you have some fun with it. But many of you are experiencing it as well. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, because we're integrating those higher dimensional threads, which will open us up to higher dimensional wisdom, higher dimensional intelligence, higher dimensional inspirations to come up with these new opportunities that we're moving into and shifting into. So yes, there will be other systems falling away. There will be change. There will be things leaving and coming and going in your life. And there will be things changing and shifting and having to make modifications. But if you're aware of it and if you're prepared for, things are going to be shifting and moving, and it will continue to do so. And then you can just let go and just relax into this time of change and transition, and not allow yourself to get spiraled within all the drama, because it doesn't have to be. Allow yourself to step within that higher dimensional frequency and say, well, how can we appease all of the parties involved from a higher dimensional vibration? How can our choice be refined from a higher dimensional perspective? And there's not one person on this planet that's not moving through, this awakening and awareness. Well, how can I create a higher dimensional choice so that they all may be served? Subconsciously, they might not be thinking it, and depending on their awareness, their state of awareness that they're at. But in every moment, because our collective family has chosen to shift into something new, moment for moment for moment, opening your heart, love, giving, receiving, compassion, forgiveness, those are all frequencies and actions that create the reality that, and as a collective family, must change, must shift, must create new decisions around, must create new opportunities for, must play, all of these things that we're now creating from our conscious awareness, these higher vibrational thought systems, higher vibrational intelligence systems, are opportunities. And so as we act in love and compassion and forgiveness, we're creating the light field and the dimensional information to come with us, and us go with it. And so as I found out this week, I was allowing myself to take on all of this what I felt to be pressure, to have it unfold in a certain way, because that was my hope, my true love and my hope for my children to have this beautiful recreation of something fun and ecstatic and fluid and all of these beautiful things. And it will be. But we've still got our feet kind of in old paradigms, and that's okay too. But we can compromise so that all parties involved are happy, and all parties involved are valued, and all parties involved are heard and required to have that exploration and input so that we create these higher dimensional opportunities. Because it will shift and change every day. Every day that we create this beautiful platform of Christed exploration, of light center and wisdom exploration, it will shift and change every day. And so there's no way that any one of us can put expectations or outcomes upon it. Because there will be other people involved, other kids, other families, other parents, other whatever it may be. And it's about changing and being fluidic, light beings with it. And we touched on that last week. and how we're feeling ourselves change multidimensionally when we're moving in and out like beautiful fluid beings of light. And you're moving with the change. And you're creating beautiful, higher, inspirational ideas and concepts and musings to bring whatever situation you're involved with, whatever challenge you're involved with, whatever dichotomy or polarity you're involved with, whatever shift of change or letting go, whatever it is that moment for moment you're moving through. You can envision yourself as beautiful liquid light, as a God essence, which you are, as a beautiful light liquid essence, which you are, as a beautiful bouquet of love and divine offering, which you are, and move through these daily offerings to yourself from a heightened perspective, and just sit back within it and embrace it all as the beautiful challenges, as the beautiful opportunities and gifts that you have co-created with creation as your grander soul to bring forward to you, because you're ready for it. You're ready to approach things from a higher intelligence perspective. You're ready to go within and say, well, I don't need to create those expectations. I'm just going to have fun in this now moment. Whatever unfolds, unfolds. And hallelujah. There are so many beings and councils and groups that have our back on everything. And we're here to allow these higher dimensional threadings that we're offering ourselves through our conscious awareness and through our love. And these higher dimensional informational threads that we're moving within can offer us the excitement and the beauty and the true universal play that so many of us have come here for, to create and to inspire and to ignite and to co-create with others as a beautiful universal family, moving through a profound planetary and human acceleration and evolution. But we have to bring ourselves to that centeredness and that state of peace so that the information can move through us. It can't move through us if we're blocked or if we have those expectations and we're closing down the energy flow. Because remember, dimension is vibration and information. And if the DNA activation has taken place, the information cannot flow through you if there's blocks and impedances and resistance to have it to continue to move through you, create through you. And why we say opening up the divine sacred heart and understanding who you are, what you exist within, what exists within you, allowing yourself to perceive yourself and be that divine temple of light, then you can open up to the God flow that's moving through and shifting and changing every moment and accelerating and oscillating and being threaded in new ways because you've actually acted upon a higher dimensional piece of information that's coming from somewhere else in the universe, but you're grounding it and anchoring it here and now and you're using it. And that's what many of us are opening up to. I've recently had a beautiful exploration in which I find that when I'm talking to people, and because that's part of the gift that I've come here to use, is the angelic tongue and the angelic voice, and moving within my angelic frequencies of tone through my voice, through my throat chakra. And that's one of my major gifts and my major themes, and why, anytime that there's a block or a resistance, it's usually in the throat, because that's what I'm here to work on, and that's what I'm here to explore and express in my own beauty and my divine essence. But as I'm in these beautiful conversations and these beautiful dialogues and explorations, I'm finding myself just coming forward with, as I'm talking, a vision from another frequency and another thread of dimensional information, vibration. And it's threading through me, and it truly feels as if it's a soul thread, a soul threading that we've talked about, that's coming to life through me. And I see it as a tool that I can now use in my awareness in new ways. And then I can ground it and anchor it and play with it and show others and create this awareness with others. And that's how we bring heaven unto earth as we bring earth up to heaven. And it's all through us. And allowing yourself to play and be inspired in this way and know that all is well. You're moving in the new aspect of dimensionality, and you're perfect and you're divine, and you're this beautiful bouquet of multidimensional color, multidimensional sound, multidimensional musings that you were just beginning to tap into, and it's unexplainable. Some of the experiences I've had are truly unexplainable. And I can see myself, moving like this beautiful liquid light into any dimension that I so choose vibrationally. If there's something I'm moving through as a musing, or I'm looking to know something or activate something and I don't know what it is, I can open myself up to the omniverse that I'm threaded within. And I can say, I'd like to know how to do this so that I can ground and anchor it and assist others here now. And that musing, I let it go. I let the universe co-create. I let the universe, I let Mother, Father, God, and all of my teams and all my higher self and all that I am begin to thread those particles of quantum activity, and it starts threading itself to me, this now moment that's ever shifting, ever moving, ever cycling through the ebbs and flows. And I'm open to it, and my heart is open, and the divine in me entangled with the divine in the all. And in those moments that I'm having a conversation with someone that might seem as if it's a one-off conversation, and this beautiful, profound vision of a healing tool has just come to me. Could be in a client interaction, and it's just come to me. And that co-creation between that client or that co-creation between that family member has assisted in the pulling through of that divine gift. And why all moments are divine blessings. All moments are divine gifts of the grander aspect of you as your God self, threading through to you blessings of divine bouquets of love. That's how much you are loved. That's how much you are required and supported. And regardless of what part you think you play, and we sometimes, as humans, our human behaviors and our patterning has always been to kind of make ourselves small in the overall grandness of the scheme and what our part has been. Each and every aspect of creation, each and every aspect of life is required in the most profound way. And if even one aspect of that creational wheel is taken out or omitted or devalued in any way, then the whole of creation will feel that ripple, that omission. And it will have to be made up somewhere else, and there will be cogs and wrinkles and things to be smoothed out somewhere else. So it's absolutely affecting the all. And why it's so really exciting where we sit right now. And why we want to bring joy. And why we want to bring celebration and peace. And why we want to create a moment of silence for the profundity of each and every soul, each and every human body and vessel, each and every pair of ears and heart that is listening and tuning in and opening and allowing and creating that grander reflection and introspection about the divine essence that each and every one of you carry. And how profound each and every one of you are. To be here right now, to be offering the essence of you right now, to be offering your compassion and your forgiveness and your allowance and your surrender and your divine unique importance. And the more that we walk forward in loving compromise, the more that we walk forward in loving forgiveness of all things that we have done and others, we allow for the quantum energetic space to truly allow us to heal from the inside out and allow the God to flow through us in all ways and create absolute miracles. Miracles and majesty in the infinite heavens that we are able to begin to explore. And this is the sign, this is the potentiation of this bouquet that we are a part of and that we co-create as a one human heart and family through what we know to be true about how powerful and profound love and light is as the essence of it, as the gift of it. And so take peace and pause, dear lighted ones. Each and every one of you has a part. Each and every one of you has a role. Each and every one of you has a divine offering. With every kind word, with every kind act, with every moment that you begin to laugh and create joy. In every absolute moment, you have an effect. And creation celebrates you, and creation arises, stands at ovation for you. And the dogs out back are agreeing with me. Thank you, our family from Sirius. And thank you for the beings in the celestial chambers that have all come forward for all of you today. And I don't never know how many people are listening. It doesn't matter, but I know by the presence within the etheric chambers and by how my multidimensional bodies are telling me that when we come forward with information that's divine from the hearts of your celestial teams and from Mother, Father, God, and the archangels and the divine heavenly councils, any being or any frequency that you are a part of, that you're threaded with, anything that you require in that moment, it moves through me as a vibrational thread, and I feel and I sense that it's being entangled somewhere else, some other vibration, some other thread, some other heart, some other soul. And so I know and I feel what moves through me, so that I can allow myself to continually attune myself and serve in a greater way, in a grander way. And so I value our communions weekly. I value our gathering in our sacred soul tribes that meet in our classes. I value it all because I understand and I can see the ripple effect. I can see and I can create that beautiful inner awareness of our threading with one another through all timelines, through all dimensional vibrations, through all information and systems that we work within energetically. And so I value and I appreciate and I give great gratitude to each and every one of you. And so thank you. And so thank you for this beautiful first hour that we've co-created together as we allow ourselves to muse about the multidimensional bouquet of love that each and every one of us are. And as we're, as a human family, creating and co-creating new divine opportunities for our social behaviors and our social potentiation, we're allowing ourselves to let go, but also compromise and bring into a homeostasis point of view and energetic space, if you will, how we can appease and allow others to be valued and honored in everything that we're now creating. And we don't have to necessarily feel as if it's got to be created overnight. And it's all of these new potentiations and all of these new beautiful inspirings that so many of us have. It doesn't have to be created overnight. It's not meant to be. We're meant to enjoy the journey. We're meant to enjoy the unfolding. We're meant to be at peace with the unfolding. And we're meant to know that there's a miracle every moment that we soak within this perfected state of awareness, that all moments are perfect. All moments are divine in its threading. All moments can be brought to a higher vibrational frequency if you allow yourself to see it from all perspectives. Create fairness and balance from all perspectives. And that's true mediation. That's true ambassadorialship. When all opinions and all voices and all hearts and all threads are integrated into new potentiation. And so if you have to allow yourselves to soak within this a few times, please do so, because there are so many of you that are here to inspire and to truly empower and encourage these beautiful new human opportunities. And so you can rest and relax into your profundity and into all that you're bringing to the table, and know that it will all work out divinely, and it will be perfect in its exploration and in its unfolding. You will feel and you will sense the excitement as something new is brought to the table, because you're relaxing into your ability to ensure that all parties are heard and all parties are validated and all parties are valued as the new opportunities are threaded into this beautiful bouquet of blooming and blossoming into something that we could have never imagined. And this is how we know that we're moving into higher intelligence systems, because we're creating things in new higher intelligence ways. Those are the dimensions that we're now shifting into. And remember, dimension is about vibration and information. And you can feel it in all that you do. It's not necessarily a place or a location. It's about the vibration and the information that you allow to live through you. As your goddess and your Christed essence, your light body, atom, Eve, and time particles that are swimming within you. And allow it to be all that you are. All that you are expanding within. So wow, that is a profound hour of illumination and exploration. So thank you. We've just brought that up a whole new level of exploratory fun. So thank you, everyone. When we return back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about, again, the crystalline and multidimensional parenting. And more of our beautiful higher vibrational experiences that we've moved through over the last little while since returning from really Peru was the catalyst for me. And it's just been unfolding since Peru. And how many of you can sense these changes and sense these shifts in your own day-to-day unfolding, and how you can attune to sacred travel remotely. And so we can talk about that in our class today, but we'll touch on it a little bit after the break, how you can remotely create your own sacred ceremonies and your own sacred journey by never leaving your living room, if you will. And you can remotely travel to these sacred places and still tune into the vibrational information and activations that exist there. And we all understand how remote healing takes place and how we can remotely tune in to the etheric chambers for your loving celestial families, and how you can remotely tune in to any star system, to any planetary frequency that you're excited to tune into, how you can remotely tune into your first contact lightship team. So anything with your intention and with your open heart and your love can place you within any vibrational thread, because remember, it's not time or space or location, it's a vibration and it's information. And so this can allow you greater freedom and greater self-love and celebration for everything that we've been moving through, and how so much has changed, and really offer light and compassion to Gaia, offer light and compassion to the whole human family. Offer light and compassion to yourself every morning when you look at yourself in the mirror before you get out of bed. Gift yourself divine, sacred affirmations of empowerment, divine, sacred affirmations of how you're studying the light field for loving yourself and emitting those loving vibrations, because everything has a ripple effect. And why not go into it with love and light and divine compassion for you? That's where we begin. Always, as within, so without. So thank you, dear lighted ones. So tune in after the break. And remember, we've got our Sacred Temple teachings today at 2 o'clock Mountain Time. And so if you'd like to join us, go on to our Universal Unity news page. And Tina's got the link up there on the website. And I think it's the second link down. We've also got some telesummits coming up with various radio stations and telesummit platforms. And we'll try and post them as soon as we can on our news page. And we've also got that new website opening up. So join us after the break as we go farther and deeper into this beautiful bouquet of multidimensional love.
You've been listening to Universal Unity, New Earth Consciousness with Joanna L. Ross. Live every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. To explore, empower, understand, inspire, and further connect with this higher state of consciousness, please visit universalunity.ca. For more information on the host, Joanna L. Ross, please visit her KCOR Digital Radio Network show page, Universal Unity, New Earth Consciousness.
You're listening to the all-new KCOR, The Core, broadcasting from Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world. Hell yeah, in a little place called Area 51.
Let go of the past and manifest the reality you desire. It's time to expand your consciousness and create a new enlightened transformational you by raising your vibrational frequency. We will talk about ETs, light ships, the ascending human, our ascending planet, visitations, and first conscious contact upon our new fifth dimensional Earth. Welcome to Universal Unity, New Earth Consciousness. It's time to activate a better you by embracing the white light of Source. Now your host and universal guide, Joanna L. Ross.
Welcome back. This is Joanna from Universal Unity and Universal Light Wisdom Healing Centers. Thank you for tuning in for the second hour. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the beautiful multidimensional bouquet of love that each and every one of us is becoming and blossoming and blooming into. And many of us have been feeling these beautiful multidimensional experiences, whether it be through heightened, heightened activity in dreams, I know I've been having those heightened activity in dreams. So if you want to put any comments or questions in the chat field there, or send it in to us through Twitter or through the KCOR radio line there, please feel free. These interactions and these dialogues is not only within the energy fields of what you're offering and what you're musing about and going through, but also send them in for everyone else to be a part of as well. And we call that sacred sharing. And we do it often in our monthly Sacred Temple teachings, and we create this beautiful, loving circle of soul tribe, just as we do within our families and our beautiful friends that we've found through our energetic work and through our many shifts and changes that we've all evolved through. And sacred sharing cannot be underestimated, and how powerful it is for change and evolution in any way. It doesn't have to be something new that you're creating or something that you have an inspiration about, but sacred sharing in every way assists us in balancing and rebalancing not only the divine feminine and masculine energies, but also the multidimensional bodies of all that we are as a divine temple of light. We talk about it every show because it's very important, and everybody's moving through it in different ways, in different frequencies, in different dimensions of threading and information and vibration. And it's really, really important to create for yourself a way that you can create sacred sharing in any way that you can in your life, because it truly allows you to be more aware of, to bring within fine-tuning and alignment what you truly desire and what you need at a higher dimensional level, a deeper, a wider, richer dimensional level. And how we can bring this to the table with our families and with our friends and our family and our kids and all that we are encompassing and threaded within. We can bring this balancing of the multidimensional bodies into grander awareness. What does your body need and desire? What do you need and desire as a whole being? Are you integrating those needs and desires in your everyday life? Through a mental checklist and just scanning your mental state. How do I feel mentally? Am I tired? Am I exhausted? Am I feeling frustrated or angry? Your emotional state. Do a scan. How are you feeling? What do you need? What are you allowing yourself to create, to feel, to express, to act upon, to do, to behave? This allows you to truly let go of resistance in any one area. And this is how you truly get to know yourself and seek within the brilliance and the genius of the all that you are. If we're only satisfying one aspect, which the human paradigm has essentially done for eons, it's been about mind and ego, that ego-mind aspect. But now we're slipping into a higher mind, and the higher mind is different than the ego mind. The higher mind is merging with your higher self, and the ego mind is that aspect of yourself that can get things done, knows where to find things, knows how to get your manifestations in order, and your higher mind is the inspiration. The ego mind allows you to help get things done. And so there's a role that each play. And so understanding that is a way for you to balance the imbalances, to bring back homeostasis with Gaia. And why we talk about it every week, because it is so very, very important. And to give yourself that really quick scan throughout your day. How am I feeling etherically? Am I sensing too much energy? Because as you awaken your universal child, the multidimensional bouquet that you're blooming into, you're going to start sensing and feeling a lot more. And it's going to be really important to not only embrace and ground who you are. Embracing is understanding that you're having exaltation and excitement for your human experience and for your human offering, who you are as a human, and truly embracing the journey that you're on as a human being, as a lighted being that's ascending and evolving, and not belittling or downplaying what you're moving through. And so all of these are aspects of your divine experience, and what we can teach our children, and our children can learn from us, that we're not hiding from who we are. We're not suppressing or depressing who we are in any one area. And I often tell my children, this week in particular, we had many of those moments where we gathered and said, okay, well, let's talk. What are we sharing? What are we moving through? And we learned a lot about really bringing into balance how each and every one of us is feeling, because we're creating these sacred sharing circles. But in any given moment, we're all not feeling the same thing. We're all not moving through the same thing, because we're each letting go and we're each healing our Akash, each and every one of us. The children have their unique soul blueprints and soul contracts and collective contracts. Those of us that are entangled with children have our own unique soul contracts, collective contracts, and soul contracts. And so We're all moving. We're all triggering our Akash. We're all healing. We're all bringing forward our own aspects of limitation and soul fragments so that we can heal it. And the children are much more threaded with awareness than we've often given them credit for, because they're aware of everything. They can feel things at a much heightened frequency. They can sense things at a much heightened frequency. They know you're talking about them in the next room. I mean, they're just aware. They're far more aware than we were when we were born. And I was here born as a crystalline child, and I felt that I was quite aware. But my kids are even more aware. I mean, there's no judgment or definition into it, but it's just an aspect of our knowing, and it's for us to create that inner knowing. It's for us to create that awareness so that we can bring balance into our moment for moment life. That's how we truly create societal human paradigm change, is by the awareness, by the knowingness. Then we create that refined choice through the awareness, through the consciousness activation. And so really a grand part of any one multidimensional parent or guide or caregiver, the role that we play is to truly bring the platform, bring the energetic portal, if you will, so that we may understand balance again, so that we may understand our centering again, so that we may understand who we are as a grand universal child, this multidimensional bouquet that's unfolding moment for moment for moment, and the children are as well. And so we can allow ourselves to sit back and relax and know that when they're moving through challenges, when they're moving through difficult times, sacred sharing can assist in sharing those emotions, sharing those feelings, sharing those thoughts and inspirations or new ideas they want to create. But it's also a part of them releasing the Akashic frequencies that they need to release and move through. Because many of them have come here with their Akashic triggers that they're moving through and learning about. And because we've been so busy with our own ascension and awakening path, we forget that the children too have their own Akash that they're being triggered by. And usually it's within the family dynamic that they're most triggered by. Brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and, mothers and fathers and so on. In whatever caregiver role that you're in, we all play a part because we're all contracted with one another. There's no separation in any of this. And so to create those dynamic inspirations of all these beautiful things we're stepping up into in these higher dimensional vibrational fields of play, we still have some of our energy back in these systems that we're learning to come and bring with us. And that's what we talked about in the first half of our show, is how we can bring a finer vibrational aptitude and perspective so that all voices are heard and that all places in their unique soul path is respected and honored. And it's not for any one of us to say where any one other being should be at in their own journey. I mean, that's the free will, that's the acceptance and the sovereignty allowance. And as a parent, that's one of the biggest things that we learn, because we all want the best for our children. But sometimes we want the best so much so that we impose our wishes and wants onto our children, therefore taking away what they're here to experience in the full picture, the grand picture of their Christed essence, because we haven't necessarily thought of them as the Christed masters that they are. We've thought of them as the children we have to take care of and we have to guide and create decisions for on everything in their life. Yes and no, we can bring that to a higher perspective and say, we understand they're Christed masters. We understand that they're here with higher vibrational heart centers and DNA. We understand that they can sense and feel and really truly a multidimensional body of essence that they are. They're heightened beings of light. And so how may we create the environment? How may we create the energy within our own homes to create greater allowance and creativity to allow them the exploration that they desire so that they can heal their own Akash, which is why each and every one of us are here to heal our own Akash. And sometimes we do it by co-creating triggers with one another as your close friends and family members. But we create this beautiful Christed essence so that they can then be the master of their own path. They can then be the master of their own creative imaginings and inventiveness. And trust me, these children will come forward with profound inventions and creations. And if we allow them to, and not stifle them or put limitations or rules or expectations on them as to what we wish as parents and caregivers, then those will be blocked and resisted. And because the spirit desires to be spirit, to be free and liberated. And so children will move through any way they can to allow themselves that spirit within, just as many of us were when we awoke. Well, I was answering the call of spirit, and it feels so good to be free and liberated. I'm listening to my spirit, and I'm hearing my higher voice. I'm hearing my partnership with Mother, Father, God. I'm allowing. I'm creating this beautiful flow. It feels really good. But then we go around and we create these limitations and rules for our children. And we're just continuing the cycle of what we grew up in. We might be a little bit more aware, but we're still creating the cycles of limitation and rules and expectations. We can bring it to a higher vibration if we allow greater creativity and allowance and truly emit this thought, because our thought forms do create. We all know that. We all know that our intentions create. We all know that the beauty that we are within creates. So why not go within and begin intending as you walk about your house how utterly profound and masterful your child is, how utterly masterful and profound you are. As you do so, the vibrations in your home become less resistant. They become less chaotic or tribunal, if you will. Because sometimes, honestly, I'm an honest parent, it does sometimes feel tribunal, and it feels as if, wow, this is a bit of a family chaotic moment here. And all voices are wanting to be heard, and all attitudes and opinions are coming to the table. And that's okay too. We're all growing through this in every way. And this is how it feels. It's a beautiful multidimensional bouquet. Well, how can we all sit down and really create love and joy and fluidity so that harmony is the main goal, if you will, for each of us, so that each being is heard and valued and has harmony. And that's what many of us as leaders, many of us as caregivers and teachers, many of us as parents, many of us as lovers, creating similitude with balance and harmony and bringing it to a higher vibrational state of reference. And that's the light fields that we've been talking about for so very long, but now we're starting to see it take place. These are the higher vibrational light fields that we're now playing upon. We can't play upon these higher vibrational light fields if we're still acting and behaving in lower dimensional ways. So how we bring that into a homeostasis is by the compromise, is by allowing each being to be the master that they are, regardless of age. That doesn't mean, no, you don't let them go and play in the street if they're just 2 and walking. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that if you're creating that safe environment for them to explore, then they're masters and they're going to come forward with their own musings and their own appreciations and their own Christed essence in a creative, dynamic way that we have never seen before on this planet. And it can be done because we're parents and we know how to create a safe environment. But it's when we start imposing our wishes, it's when we start imposing our expectations, it's when we start imposing our needs or wants over others. That's when we get into the friction and the dynamic of people behaving around us in ways that aren't harmonic, because they're only behaving in a way that we're pushing energy into any one situation. And when you back off and release, things flow. It's the same with who we are as people. When you start placing expectations and resistance on who you are, what your expectations are for yourself, that's when we get those energetic blocks and things aren't flowing. Or we don't see the manifestation that's right before us. Because we are the ones creating the blocks for ourselves. We're putting too many expectations. It must be this way to do this. It must be that way to do that. And we're creating those old paradigm behaviors again in higher dimensional vibrations. Higher dimensional vibrations and light field play allow you to operate in that light field play. Beautiful, sacred way. And so these are just some of the musings and some of the discoveries that I've found out this week in my own beautiful multidimensional play with my children. And they're so very profound and they're so very masterful. They just amaze me with they're so divinely flexible in their compassion, in their understanding, so far beyond their years. And it just baffles me that these young beings of light, and my kids are 6 and 10, and they're truly beyond their years in wisdom and aptitude and capacity. And you talk with them, I talk with them as if, they're just intelligent beings. They're so very intelligent. And I'm baffled. I have no words. And so this will be a very exciting exploration that we're moving upon. And I offer whatever we're going through as a family as musings for those who so desire to create peace and harmony within whatever they're going through. Because as a human family, collectively, we're all going through similar situations, just in different vibrations or different scenes, different roles, different clothes. But we're all going through letting old ways of behaving go. And we're stepping up into these new vibrational light fields that are allowing us the beautiful divine offerings of this bouquet that we can attune to, really. We're attuning our vibrational station, if you will, to the divine offerings that are truly dynamic and loving and unconditional in every way. And when we can shift our perspective to see that and to be it, to emanate it, then we can let go of the stress and the friction we feel about what it may appear to look like on the surface. And that's change. And sometimes change can look unknown. Sometimes change can look a bit scary when people and beings and systems and processes leave our life. But we're creating those beautiful light fields and light opportunities so that we can truly step up into a more liberated way of behaving, a more higher dimensional way of behaving, in which we are one in the all. And why? As we're creating these new opportunities, the higher dimensional perspective will allow you to create peace within, similitude within, and let go of expectations and confinement, which is what many of the things I felt this week. I was wanting myself, who I am as a spirited being of light and as a mother and as I'm a beautiful conduit for the divine. And I was having those expectations that I must fit within the paradigms of the social systems that used to be. I was trying to satisfy all parties in every way without satisfying what I was truly here to create first. And so when I start from that place first, then I understand, well, I can create something that's truly going to satisfy everybody if I can do it with me. And we can satisfy the school board, we can satisfy the children's voice and what they want to create, which is most important, and allow them to come forward and truly, show us the way. And so hopefully our musings and our experiences this week can assist others that are also creating and co-creating in divine, beautiful, loving, Christed ways and God ways. And we're going to tap into, in our class today, our Sacred Temple teaching class, we're going to tap into some beautiful experiences that I've had really since Peru, and opening up to the multidimensional soul threadings, is which I've called it. Soul threadings are those beautiful golden threads that we're linked within all dimensions of vibration and information. We're linked within all soul councils and soul groups, if you will. The ground or soul aspect of all that we are, those soul fragments that trigger us to heal and to love and to bring in. And how these soul threads are gifted to us and are with us as this divine orchestration, this divine design, for us to then bring forward skills and wisdoms and intelligence to be of use and of service in the here and now. And that's how all other higher dimensional beings participate and behave on higher dimensional star systems and realms. They know that they can tap into that frequency that they have within a 12th dimensional angelic tone frequency, and they can say, okay, I'm going to pull this forward now. It doesn't mean you're going to remember it in every moment, if you will, what we call memory, but they're only pulling in what they need for that moment because they know they have access to it and they know they're going to serve the all. And so, boom, there it is. There's no resistance. I'm sure at every dimensional level, there will be that initial resistance because it's new information, it's new way of being, it's a new way of behaving, because everything is always new in cycles, in evolution. So there always may be that, what we term to be resistance, but it's just getting used to the new way of behaving. And so we can really redefine into a more fluid word, a more fluid energy that allows us to move with greater space and with greater ease. Because we're all really, what we may feel as friction, what we may feel as resistance, is really us just moving into the higher dimensional vibrations of information. Really is what it is. And there will be those moments of well, what's going on? It seems chaotic. But all you're having to do is shift to that higher perspective and say, well, I get it now. This is coming to me because I was resisting who I truly was, or I was wanting to fit within old social paradigms, or I was wanting this to fit in this higher vibrational energy, and it's just not going to work. And so allow yourself the room to play. Allow yourself the room to understand that we're entering higher vibrational dimensional threads. Thus, therefore, we are allowing ourselves to, behave and interact and engage and entangle in higher dimensional ways and let things go. And truly allow all beings to be the divine sovereign essence of Christ that they are, and they show us to be. All aspects of creation mirror to us the Christed essence in some way, somehow, because we all are. We're just allowing ourselves to understand that now. So it's our awareness that allows us to just sit back and relax and enjoy the journey. It's not the end state of any one thing. Like I had that expectation of the end state of what these light centers may look like. There was a part of me that did. I didn't muse about it or write anything out or plan it in any way. But there was an aspect of me that did, and that's what was healed this week. It's to sit back and relax, that it's the journey that's important. It's the journey that allows anyone being in that entanglement, in that co-creation, to pull in their soul threadings from those higher dimensional threads. To say, well, you sit back and allow us, and you just open up your heart, you can receive this soul threading that's allowing you to see that you are healing and you are doing this and you are contributing every moment you're serving your soul contract. So you don't have to put stress or pressure on yourself of what you're serving and what you're not. Because you're always serving. Every moment you're serving. Every moment you're allowing yourself to expand. Every moment your kids are expanding and they're moving about their journey and their soul contract. And so you can have that peace of heart that everything is divine perfection and divine design. Trust. There's not any one thing that you have to do to move in any different way to know that you're not serving or you're serving. You're always serving, always. It's a constant evolutionary cycle, and all that you do is serving the greater good in some way. Oftentimes we take detours, and that's okay too. That's still serving. You're still expanding, you're still evolving. And you see how we can be gentle in this way. We take the higher perspective in which we're allowing ourselves as the etheric chambers are coming to us, and the archangels, thank you, archangels, coming forward to us and allowing us to see that they're allowing me to take beautiful compassion with myself this week, because I put so much pressure on myself to be this certain figure or role for my children in this beautiful essence that I wanted to create. And they're allowing me to see that the archangels consider us children as well, their children, an aspect of them, which we are, and how their unconditional love and patience and compassion with us to take whatever detour that we so desire, just as we allow our children, now that we're coming into greater awareness, that those detours allow them to create their own healing and their own self-knowing and their own self-clarity to heal the Akashic triggers that they needed to heal. So to us, it may look like a detour as a parent or a teacher or a caregiver, but the archangels are showing me that in all aspects, these detours allow the greater good to learn. If you allow yourself to tune in, you're always going to be aligned with your highest and your best, and you're always going to move yourself. Your higher self will never stop, gifting you with synchronicities and cues to align you with what you've come here to experience. And you can have that innate faith, that unconditional faith that you're always going to be aligned, walking in that way. And so too will your children. Walk with that faith. They're always going to be aligned. They're always evolving. They're always going to be healing, just as you are. And you can let that resistance go and allow yourself to move into that piece of really embracing who you are in this human journey and all that we've created together. And just as the archangels celebrate, and they come forward in moments like this to allow us to see that it's unconditional. Our love for our children is unconditional. We're now understanding it and feeling our way into these higher vibrational offerings and bloomings. We're allowing ourselves to feel what it feels like to be truly unconditional and allow our children their path and to have them explore and create it in any way they desire. And the archangels are saying, you too are our children, just as if you were a parent. And we see that in the most unconditional way. And we will always provide healing, and we will always provide support. We will always provide opportunity and guidance. Whenever you call, we're here. And so the etheric door and the chambers were opened, and they came through. And they're saying, we're here. And we'd like to offer our beauty and we'd like to offer our inspiration for who we see the human family as, aspects of us, our children, our divine family, our divine brethren. And the information and wisdom will always be offered. Divine Mother, Father, God will always offer it. Always. They will always offer divine, unconditional love. Divine opportunities for us to seek ourselves in all beings, in all life, in all things. Mother, Father, God love nothing more than for us to experience ourselves as love. Because as we do, creation is changed forevermore. And why these moments of beautiful, unplanned, and beautiful synchronistic moments where the divine heavens come forward with a vision for us to co-create together and allow this beautiful transitional human ride to be one of a beautiful multidimensional bouquet in which each and every one of us can bloom and blossom in new ways. And we can create excitement to explore, and we can create excitement for the higher dimensional musings and inspirations in which all are served and all are feeling valued and required for their very place within their soul path. And each aspect of life is valued. And how utterly profound that each and every one of us are so very dearly loved in this way. And that's why each and every aspect of life is adding to the whole and is a contributor and is doing their part in all the awakening. And why every thought and every word and every deed is a way for each and every one of us to create that awareness of how truly beautiful we are and colorful we are and diverse and unique in our offerings. And how loving and compassionate and forgiving and all these beautiful things that we are as beautiful evolving humans, cosmic galactic humans, cosmic universal, whatever we want to define ourselves at in any moment. This is the journey. And I've always said that my children are my greatest teachers because they are. They show me and they mirror to me infinite portals of information and infinite portals of potentiation and infinite portals of love. I mean, their gifting of love is endless and infinite. And I never could have imagined a human being in what I've remembered to experience such unconditional love. And my children express it to me, and they show me all the time how unconditional they are. And they shape and they mold me in such beautiful, profound ways. And again, the archangels are coming in to show me how each and every one of us are viewed in the same way. So thank you. I'm taking in this moment as the archangels are, allowing this mirror to be a grander collective mirror for our human family. And how I have such great love for my children, and they show me such unconditional love. And how they're mirroring that to me. Each and every one of us are also showing them and showing creation of our ability to move through such profound moments. So thank you, dear lighted ones. How beloved you are, and how important and valued you are. So never underestimate your presence in this incredible journey. So if anybody has a question, it would be lovely to hear from you. It would be lovely to connect and entangle with you in this sacred sharing. Feel free to bring your questions through. And some of the beautiful and divine unfoldings with the crystalline children and the crystalline tips and hints for this week is to allow yourself, again, one of the most important and most profound things, I guess you could say, that we've created is the sacred sharing. And whether it be in classes, whether it be in private sessions, whether it be in moments with my children, and the co-creations we have every day, is to allow that sharing to be offered. And sometimes it comes across and people say, what do you mean share? Because they're not used to being asked. And we often, that's how our natural behavior is, what do you mean share? How do I feel? What do you mean? And so even simple moments like this can open the heart to that intimate communion and that sacred communion in which they're showing me that, which we had in all of our temple work and in any frequency in which it's higher dimensional behavior. And in the temple work, we allowed our hearts to be shared, whether it be a physical, intimate way, whether it be an emotional, communicative way, whether it be in the mental body, if you will, the mental field, to sharing our ideas, to sharing our inspirations, to sharing our feelings, to sharing our emotions, and sharing that beautiful human experience, and creating form, our physical form, if you will, in any star system, because there's always balance in every star system. When you take a form, if you will, when you come from spirit to form, we still have to balance and maintain so that we can move through the divine offerings of the heavens and continue that evolutionary unfolding. And they're saying that it doesn't matter whether you're a 6th dimensional Sirian or a 7th dimensional or 8th dimensional Pleiadian. There's still those multidimensional bodies of your wholeness, of your allness, your isness, your beingness that we're now becoming aware of, that, wow, I need to create better balance with my emotions here because I'm really feeling like I need to express myself and create that sacred sharing with, which thus then creates that balance with your physical body and your mental body and your etheric body. Because as those needs are met, as those desires are met and understood and created acknowledgement with and acceptance with and love with unconditionally, as you meet each of those needs, you're allowing for the greater energy and information and vibration that you are shifting into through these evolutionary times. And you're allowing all of these experiences to be an aspect of you. And it's flowing now. It's not resisting. You're not resisting those emotional pangs, if you will, that come forward through the Akash because we haven't dealt with those emotional aspects of ourselves. We haven't dealt with it. It will come through in the Akash in every way until it's healed. And that's why sometimes it feels as if we're going through the same experience with the same types of experiences over and over and over, because we haven't dealt with those inner needs, the inner child, the inner universal child that's coming from all of these different dimensional threads to be healed and loved and made whole. And that's why we've come forward as masters to do so. Because we're remembering our mastery, we're remembering our Christed essence, to allow each and every soul path to be what it is, to be allowing and accepting of who we are, because all aspects are reflections of our vastness, of our divinity, just as the archangels allow all of our aspects to be mirrors and aspects and soul threadings and aspects and fragments of all that is. And the divine heavenly councils and the divine heavenly groups remind me all the time that you are us and we are you. Just moving through it in different vibrational threads of information. Different clothes, different forms, but we're all one. And how lovely and divine that is, and just enjoy the journey. And so thanks. And so a comment from our listener: what is the most difficult thing you have found in dealing with star children? They seem to be old souls having such a tough time in the limitation and by the bound body. And that is why so many are being labeled with ADHD and put on prescriptions. And that's some of it, yeah. And we can create greater fluidity and they're showing me a movement of energy by just how we define it and perceive it. And so, I can absolutely understand, because I can see the restrictions and the limitations that my children have had to accommodate. Really, they're accommodating everything that we put on them, and it's not really healthy at all. And this is why so much of our own society has been imbalanced, even as our adult society is imbalanced emotionally, physically, mentally, and etherically, and why we're doing so much healing. The children are no different, except they're showing us at a younger age that the density and the limitation is not working, but it's how society, defines it. If they're not fitting into the old paradigms and the old systems, then they define it in any one of the categories that they've made definitions for, whether it be ADHD or ADD or whatever the definition is. And we're not going to go into it because there's a myriad of them, and they come up with new definitions because they're not understanding consciousness and energy as the grander potentiality that it is. And they're basing those tests and those however they test them and judge them and put them into these placements of labels. They're not understanding the grander play of consciousness, the grander play of energy, the grander play of vibrational threading, the grander play of unique soul blueprints, the grander play of, and we can go on and on and on. Because the medical field and the social field is not quite there yet. And that's okay. Again, we can move through it with greater fluidity if we just perceive it from a higher dimensional perspective. We understand that we're going to be having one foot in older paradigms, and most of our other aspects are going to be in the higher vibrational threads that we're now awakening to, this multidimensional bouquet. But if we perceive it from that way, then we can create the flow and the fluidity of the divine to live through you and come up with beautiful synchronization in which you're beginning conversation with other parents that find these situations in similar ways, or with children, or with the medical community, or with psychologists, or. If we begin to perceive from heightened perspectives, then we're not going to continually the spiral of the labeling and the difficulties and the challenges, and that just continues that spiral. We all know that it's there. However, we can begin to step out of that field and into a field that is one of understanding and allowing that the social systems are still the way they are until we are inspired enough to come forward with these beautiful new examples of what might work, what might work. We're just offering these beautiful inspirations of creativity and Christedness because that's our innate essence. That's naturally who we are. So why not create inspirations and beautiful communication and beautiful creativity is what they're showing me, so that we can move away from the spiraling in the definitions of the old, because that's exactly what we're moving away from, really. And it will take some time, and we're patient about that, and we're understanding. But it doesn't stop us from creating beautiful inspirations on perhaps having greater dialogue about looking at it from a new, higher perspective. And there's many of you that are here to inspire that. And so, there's many of you that have children. There's many of you that have beautiful higher dimensional potentiation to come forward and say, well, perhaps we can look at child psychology from an energetic perspective. Why not? I mean, our human adult field, our whole human adult collective has been moving through ascension, and we've been offering classes. I mean, this has been all offered to our human collective. But now we're just awakening to the fact, well, if we're awakening and we're moving through ascension, then so too are our children. I mean, it's a whole new concept, really. It's really only been in the last 6 or 8 months, if we want to talk about time, that we've allowed ourselves to open up the field and say, well, wow, this is new. I mean, our children are going through exactly what we're going through, but they're much farther intuitive and energetic, if you will. And so they're moving through it in a different way, and we need to look at it from a different perspective, and not the perspective of the human paradigms that we've brought with us, because they're not going to fit these. They're not going to fit every changing moment. Really, it's not just the crystalline children and the star, what we've labeled and defined as star children, and because we want to get away from labeling and defining, because it just puts us in those boxes, if you will. But in every being that's being born now, there's a brand new perspective that we can take a look at. And we shouldn't be really defining and creating boxes based on old paradigms of behavior and socioeconomic outcomes, because we're truly stepping out of it into where we've, like I said, we've got, most of our essence is in these higher dimensional vibrational thread realities. And we're just letting go of the systems that we're seeing are not working. And so there will be some transition period. There will be some moments of, yes, I've been through it, I've accepted it, you've experienced it, frustration, where you just say, well, why can't we just move forward? And we are moving forward at great speeds. But what I've learned this week is to take heed and take preciousness, if you will, about the journey, and to respect and to honor all beings in that co-creation engagement. For each and every one of them are healing their own soul paths. They might not know it based on their awareness, as we said earlier. And just as if the field of medicine, the field of astrophysics, the field of quantum physics, the field of astrology, the field of astronomy, doesn't matter what field we talk about, each field will have its own incredible and dynamic in discovery and inventiveness because of our sacred sharing, and exactly coming forward with what you've just said, to come forward and say, well, isn't it really challenging and difficult for these star children? The star children and the indigo children and the crystalline children, and speaking from experience, we've come forward knowing this. And yes, we're going through our Akashic healings and we're going through our challenges, but it's much more, it's easier to move through when we have support. It's much more easier to move through when we're gathering and creating sacred sharing. It truly, truly is, and we can't understate that enough. If I had that sacred sharing when I was a child, I would have probably not resisted myself so much in my teenage and my young youth. I probably wouldn't have drank as much as I did and abused my body as much as I did. But that was the path I took, and I was able to learn and grow and change and still evolve. And I still healed much of my, the all that I came here to heal. And my teams were constantly reminding me of this beautiful essence that I was, and they never gave up. Mother, Father, God never give up. My teams never give up. My higher self never gives up. And this is how unconditional our existence is. And so if we take that own perspective onto ourselves, and I'm never going to give up on myself now, and I'm always going to allow myself to forgive and love and create compassion for myself and self-love, so that I can then emit this to my children and know that they're going to go through their own paths and they're going to move through their own societal changes, moving from societies that were so dense and limiting in their offerings. But they're here and really excited to create something of great excitement. And many of them have said, I'm going to be the example. And I'm going to say that, perhaps we can create greater dialogue as to what I'm truly feeling, what I'm truly going through, instead of perhaps creating a definition and just prescribing synthetic medicines that kind of cover and mask the true experience of what's going on. And so you've brought up such a profound topic of exploration, and the etheric chambers is saying wonderful. We've created this beautiful sacred sharing and this beautiful sacred dialogue that will spiral and continue in beautiful, open-ended ways to create. And that's what your higher dimensional sensations are allowing you to be aware of right now. They're showing me. You see how they're showing me, as if we're in class. They're showing me, do you see where you've come in such a short period of time, and with these weekly gatherings? Is there's now people tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from the heart space that you're tuning in from, and your desire and your beautiful love from your heart to see change and to ignite change and inspire change and to be the change. But you're now seeing yourselves operate in a higher dimensional way, that you're allowing it to be redefined and to be valued from each unique perspective. And they're showing me this. So this is a moment for moment higher dimensional lesson in allowance. So thank you, Etheric Chambers, for bringing that to my attention so that I could share it with others. And just to celebrate where we're at right now. And how wonderful, Kathy, for bringing that forward. Thank you, Kathy. In this sacred soul sharing, you've allowed us to expand, which has then ignited this beautiful etheric chamber allowance for them to share with me, to say, look at how far you've come. You're speaking about collaborating. You're speaking about integration. You're speaking about validation of all soul paths to be valued. And isn't that the most divine aspect of oneness? And we pause for that profundity, for being inspired by the beautiful listener. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your courage in coming forward and offering your beautiful musings. And all beings, from what I have sensed, and the beautiful people that I entangle with in all aspects of life, even insects and animals, they carry with them that essence and potentiation to all be old souls. They truly do. And it's whether the heart has opened enough for them to remember it. Because we all come with such vast array of soul integration and soul threading. And so it's really, really exciting. We're truly, really excited. And thank you, the Etheric Chambers, for showing us that mirror reflection of how far we've come and how great this dialogue is week after week after week. To come forward with such profound offerings of intention and such offerings of what we see and what we can feel and what we know is just around the corner. And that corner might be 5 or 10 years in time speaking, who knows? But our conversation today, our sacred sharing today, is rippling through creation, and the etheric chambers are showing me how much that these conversations and sacred dialogue change. So I'm very, very excited for our integration and our threading of this beautiful soul family. And I thank you, each and every one of you, for being a part of this special soul tribe. My unconditional love to each and every one of you, and I'm so happy to be threaded with all of you in this beautiful divine lifetime. And stay tuned for our website changes. We've got a brand new website, Universal Light Wisdom and Healing Centers. It's going to be launched anytime. I have no idea when, but it's coming soon. And it will have a beautiful family ascension portal in which parents and children can go on there and co-create, and hopefully my kids can get involved in a craft corner, whatever they want to create and whatever they want to be inspired by. But those are some of the musings that have come up in Music Corner, and all the beautiful things that they're so very talented with and want to offer with excitement. And there will be wonderful family healing sessions, and there will be wonderful private sessions that will continue, and sacred land ceremonies and celebrations. And so we're really excited about this brand new rebirth, this beautiful rebirth of higher dimensional entanglement that we're all moving through. So just know that each and every one of you is a beautiful color and a beautiful light frequency and a beautiful vibrational song in which you are sung throughout creation in your own unique, beautiful form and your beautiful tone that you are as a unique being. And know that your note and your soul song is required, that you're important and valued and validated in every way unconditionally with every aspect of consciousness. And know that you're threaded with it, and it's threaded with you. And Mother, Father, God exists within the very center of all that you are to remind you how deeply loved and how deeply honored you are in this human journey, and how moment for moment for moment you can go within and embrace this beautiful multidimensional bouquet of love and this beautiful bouquet of light that you are, that you already are. And so we hope that these reminders, we hope that these week for week musings of what we experience and how we can bring it to the table and offer up a heightened frequency of potentiation, a heightened frequency of illumination, and that we can see through higher perspective eyes and hearts, so that we co-create together in a beautiful blanket of love and a beautiful blanket of light. So thank you, dear lighted ones. For those who so desire, we will be gathering again at 2 o'clock today, from 2 till 3, of 1 hour of high vibrational attunements and alignments. We meditate and tune in with the etheric chamber. I'll also bring forward some beautiful healing activations that I've had since Machu Picchu, really, and how we can work with these tools that I've allowed myself to see and remember and co-create with. So that's going to be at 2 o'clock. So that will be linked on our Universal Unity news page, Sacred Temple Teachings page. if you'd like to go there and sign up for that today. And otherwise, we're going to be gathering for the next upcoming celestial alignment, which is September 21st for the fall equinox. And those are usually really intense vibrations and really profound vibrations. So remember breath, remember silent pause, remember celebration and honor, and allow yourself to really swim within anything that unfolds moment for moment and really ground with Gaia's heartbeat. Create joyful play with her, sacred play and sacred sharing with your families and Gaia and the elementals and the Elohim and all the beautiful consciousness that are now attuning in with us and threading with us in more of our conscious state of awareness. So I'm feeling it in every moment, that's for sure. Our celestial families, and they're coming through in dreams, coming through in our daily activities where we're just moving with that open heart and allowance in our flow. And you can feel them in your house and in your vibrations as they're doing healings. And they're offering you wisdoms and insights. So know that your teams are with you at all times. And they're saying they're also in the skies as well, light ships, because many of you are looking up to the sky. So remember too that as I was shown, that your cosmic family is also within every human, right next to you. So as we are enjoying the world and all that we're expanding within, know that those in your direct immediate circle are the beautiful angelic frequencies that have signed on with you to co-create brilliance and co-create majesty in every moment. So in this, dear lighted ones, we are signing off for another beautiful week of this 9-9 number, this masterful vibration that's coming through to show you how profound you are in your own mastery and your own divinity. And as you allow yourself of the divine inner temple of all that you are to come out and play in your most Christed, highest illuminated way, you're loved in every way, unconditionally. Throughout creation, you are known. And with that, dear lighted ones, we will sign off for this week. This is Joanna from Universal Unity. And namaste, dear lighted ones, and dear loving beings of light.
You've been listening to Universal Unity, New Earth Consciousness, with Joanna L. Ross. Live every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. To explore, empower, understand, inspire, and further connect with this higher state of consciousness, please visit universalunity.ca. For more information on the host, Joanna L. Ross, please visit her KCOR Digital Radio Network show page, Universal Unity, New Earth Consciousness. This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network. Broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist. This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.